Hey everyone, welcome to day 4 of our 10 days how to become a social media manager. Today we're going to be talking about niching down or how to pick your niche. This is a thing that everyone talks about, but we want to really simplify it for you to understand it and also make decisions based on where you are in your business. So there are four things. The fourth thing is very important because this is how you pick your niche. A few main points would be number one, it is very, very important that you understand that not everyone is your client. Now, when you're starting as a social media manager, it feels like, I would do anything just to get clients. I would do anything just to get out of my full time job and just serving people remotely or as a social media manager. And so, whoever comes your way, it would feel like a great decision to accept them. And I don't disagree with that because when you're just like getting by and you're just gaining experience, it is important that you get your hands on as many niche as possible for you to understand who to really serve in the long run. So basically, in this first stage of you getting into the business, your goal is to understand who can you serve, who do you like serving, who will be willing to pay for your services. And if you're in the early stages of it, I encourage you not to be so hard on yourself and just see this as an experimental phase, okay? Number one, not everyone is your customer. Also, another point on that is so many people would like to have social media managers, but not all of them are willing and happy to pay for your services. So later on, and on the fourth point, we will dive into who would you want to spend time on in attracting as customers. So now many businesses are waking up from the understanding that they can just operate offline. They are realizing that they need a social media manager because Instagram and Facebook is something that everyone uses. Many business owners start to think that, oh, I can just do it, I can just make posts and I know my brand better. Now at this age, like, they are understanding that I need someone who's an expert at this, who is always online and who understands the trend and can lead my business. So that is you. There's a ton of opportunities out there, but again, not everyone who desires to hire a social media manager are willing to pay for your services. So if you're someone who feels like, I don't just want to be a social media manager, I want to be a highly paid social media manager, we need to have expertise, which leads me to point number two. If your desire is to charge higher than the average virtual assistants or social media managers, you need to build expertise. You need to be a master of something. And in this case, when we're niching down as social media managers, we have to understand that each business has different needs. Yes, they need to have more brand awareness. They need to increase their engagement. Ultimately, we want to increase their sales. But different businesses and industries will require different expertise. And for you to master that, you have to render time. You have to render effort and a lot of research and experiment and trial and error and all of those things. And if you try to serve everyone, like you're serving real estate and food and beverage, and you're serving the service industry, beauty businesses and medical business, and you're also serving e-commerce, those are like, that's a lot of things for you to give your attention to. You'll be spread too thin, and in the end, you will end up giving mediocre service, and mediocre service does not easily allow you to earn higher or charge premium, right? Of course, if someone is willing to pay higher, if they're willing to pay premium, they would want a person who's an expert at it. This is one of the best examples that I like is when we go to the doctor and when we don't know what the problem is, we go to a GP, right? A general practitioner who diagnoses the problem and who just sees what's wrong with you. But most of the GPs, you don't expect to pay so high. But when we get into the stage of, okay, I know that my problem is spine, God forbid, your problem is spine, you go to a spine specialist. And a spine specialist, you already know and you expect to pay higher because a spine specialist has spent more years specializing on that area. So many of my coaches use this, and it just totally makes sense that when you're doing general stuff, you're not a master of anything, you have a service that is so it can serve, but it's mediocre, it's at this level, you expect to be paid at that level, and people expect to pay at that level. But when you choose to niche down and focus on a specific area, render time, service, money, effort, master that, you become good at that more than 90, 95%, 99% actually of the people out there who are doing general work, then you position yourself and as an expert, as an authority in this area, and you get known for that. And later on, people who are looking to get help in that area, they will understand that you are leading that. So that's the second thing. If you want to charge higher, you have to build mastery. In order to build mastery, you have to have a focus. But again, if you are still at the early stages of this, I want you to give yourself grace and spend the next few months, even a year, to just try out different niches and understand which one feels better for you, which one you can serve. We have a criteria for picking a niche, which is going to be on point number 4. For now, let's proceed to point number 3. Try to serve different niches until you find yours. So, just reiterating and emphasizing the point that I mentioned earlier, the only way to understanding what really works for you, your best teacher, is your experience. Your coaches or mentors or people on YouTube or gurus can tell you like this is a better niche or that is a better niche. But you and I are different. I have different interests. You have different interests. We have different areas in the business that we value more, and different niches can give you different things. I've said different a lot of times in the last 10 seconds. But the idea is that you have to try. You have to try it for yourself. You have to get your hands and head in the game and then see for yourself which one fits you better. Because, what we wouldn't want is for us to be at the end of the day feeling like, okay, what if I serve that niche? Or what if I pivoted to real estate? Or what if I focus on beauty brands? So we have all these what ifs, and you will only truly know it for yourself that, you've found yours when you've tried it and you figure it out for yourself. So in this trial and error process, grace for yourself. Always understand this is the season to pivot and change. But also there's a thin line between focusing and understanding this is not for you or just quitting just because you're uncomfortable, So render it some time. Say, for example, you choose one brand, you choose to serve beauty brands. Give it time. Do your best to understand the industry, to gain the skill to serve them. Maybe give yourself 6 months. Give your all to that. And then understand at the end of that 6 months, am I willing to move forward with this? What I found is that most of the time people quit because they're uncomfortable and they don't give themselves the shot. They don't give themselves the time to really understand that niche and get better at it. Because when you start rendering time, a couple of months in it, bringing in the opportunities, experiencing the chances of you serving that niche, and just like really, really being in that, getting better at it. When you get better at it, things get easier. So you're no longer wanting to quit when you're like 6 months down the line, or maybe you are, right? But the important thing is going back to the point, you have tried it yourself. So that's point number 3. And the most important, and I think is the gist of this whole video, is how do you actually pick a niche? This lesson is taught inside my program, Online Business Simplified. This will be taught inside my upcoming course, How to Become a Highly Paid Social Media Manager, which is you pick a niche based on 3 things. This is something that I've learned from my mentor, Taki Moore. When you're picking a niche, 3 things. Number 1, do you like them? It will be sustainable for you to serve this niche in the long run if you like them. If you have zero interest in real estate, you can find another niche, that you like. Because when you like it, you would like to learn more of it, and then you get better at it and you get paid higher. But if you don't like it and you're just doing it for the sake of because this is my previous experience, you're not stuck, right? But you will feel stuck if you limit yourself to that niche. There are different niches out there, and so many people who would want to pay you, and also in a way that you like serving them. So what I'm saying is that you're not stuck in a niche that you have experience, and you can always pivot, you can always change. Of course, it requires time and patience, but it's possible. So do not feel like you're stuck on one niche. I felt that when I was starting earlier, because I was not intentional, right? I was just wanting to be a social media manager, and the first client that I got was in food and beverage. So I built my experience in there. And so the next people that I was looking for, the next clients, were in food and beverage, because I have some confidence in there because I've served them. But what I realized later on was that it is not my main thing. I can serve them. I do like them, but they're not my first choice because food and beverage is changing a lot. Every month it's seasonal. Every month there's an event, so like it never ends. It's super busy, and also most of it are not all, but most of it are low profit. So that's just my own personal choice that I do not focus on that. I want to focus on businesses who are earning high, who are selling per unit of their product or service high, because they can easily pay for my services and we can easily get the ROI. So that's just a personal choice. It's something that you maybe can learn from, but you're not stuck. You can pivot, you can move. Okay. Now I no longer only serve food and beverage unless I really like and I'm invested in the brand. I like to go for service-based businesses where people can buy packages. For example, when like salons are for me high as well because people can buy, manicure, hand and foot services for like a package. And so one customer that we can bring in who really like the service can pay way more than a dish for lunch, right? So number one, do you like them so that it is sustainable? Number two, can you help them? Okay, people want to hire social media managers. Social media managers want to be hired, but if you cannot serve them, if you cannot truly help them, if it's not in your interest or in your capacity, if you cannot serve them, there's no value, you have to let them go. Then they can use the resource that they have to find someone who can help them better. I think this is something that, drills down into our integrity as service providers, social media managers. As much as we like to help people, if we don't have the capacity, it's going to be difficult to move forward. Or maybe you can sign them, but they will stop the contract down the line, right? When you're at the start of your business, you have to be very open and honest to your clients about your capacity. And if you're still learning, there's nothing wrong with telling your clients that, hey, I'm still learning this. Like, I'm applying what I'm learning to your brand, and I'm doing my best. That's totally fine. But down the line, if you figure out like you don't like them and you can't serve them, or maybe you're going into a different direction and it's no longer going to be of service to them, let them know. So don't pick a niche that you cannot help, is what I'm saying. Pick a niche that, point one, you like, right? Because you'd want to know more about it. And then in support to that, pick a niche that you really can help. You have experience in, or you're building experience in, or you plan to be in that niche for a long time so that you can serve your client. Point number three, the most important thing of all. Are they willing and happy to pay? Everyone wants to get out of, the problem state. We want to grow on social media. We want to be known. We want all the effort in our brand. But if you are serving people who are, on food stamps and they want to get their business off the ground, then that's charity work. You do that for your friend. You do that for people that you love. But in the line of you wanting to be a social media manager and wanting to earn from that and wanting to serve people and grow your business, pick people who have the resources to pay you, who have the budget. The very first point that I mentioned in this video is that so many people want to hire, but not all of them want to pay. If you want to do your charity work, by all means do that, but understand that when you are picking your niche, as a topic of this video, when you're picking your niche, point number three in your criteria is people who are willing and happy to pay, people who can pay, they have the resources. Okay, that's it. That's what I have for you today. It's day 4. I have a ton of things to unfold, to roll out, to teach you, and I'm just happy that I can do it in this more effortless and less pressured manner. I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you are finding this useful. If you do have questions, drop it in the comments below and I'll try to answer it in the next videos. If you feel like doing this, subscribe or send me a message or screenshot on Instagram at MAEKIT Happen. That's at Make It Happen. And I'll see you on day 5. Bye.